welcome back to another video. This really popped when I saw it. That to me is a monster increase. Again, this book got hot. This book is ready to go higher. So let's jump right into it. We are back today with another statue review from Diamond Select Toys. Without further ado, let's get into the review. Yo, what's up? YouTube, IG, comic collecting community, what's going on? Sunday here on East Coast is actually a pretty decent day out, a little cold, but all around pretty nice. So I'm just bored out of my mind. So I figured no excuses. Let's come on, let's talk, see if anybody's on, anybody wants to have any fun today. I do have a couple of boxes here we're going to unbox. Got some pretty cool things you don't see every day. One of them is brand new, actually. So we're going to take a look at that. But other than that, like I said, it's a little bit too cold to be hanging out outside. Got some chores done this morning, and now I am just bored. So I figured, why not come on, chat a little bit. If anybody had any questions, of course, I'll answer them. But no agenda. No agenda Sunday. Sunday sit down. I threw together a thumbnail real quick, and that was it. So we're just kind of hanging out, like I said. So if anybody has any questions, do me a favor, drop them in the chat. I'll say hello. No, don't be scared. No question is too small. I'm here for you guys for a little bit anyway, because I have nothing going on today. So with that said, before I get into some unboxings, I figured just hang out and let's see if anybody jumps into the live stream. Also, if you guys are interested in coming on and talking comics, I'll send you the link. All you have to do is obviously have a decent connection, camera, microphone, so on and so forth. So if you want to jump on, do me a favor. I'll send you the link and you can come on and chat with me. But we're just hanging out. Couple of announcements. We're going to be at King Con on April 6th in New Jersey, northern New Jersey. We're going to be selling books with Silver Age Spidey Classics. I have everything prepped already. I think I have 3 short boxes of stuff, some keys, some bigger stuff, some smaller stuff, but mostly we're just going to be hanging out and talking to people in the community, of course, saying hello, looking for deals, because that's what we're doing right now. Definitely looking for deals. So that's it. We have 2 shows coming for you this week. The first one is a big one, guys. It is huge, actually, because it's my top undervalued comics of 2024. It is coming out tomorrow, Monday morning. So be on the lookout for that one. It is a big one, in my opinion, one of the better videos for this year, because it's books that I think are undervalued still, or have come down so far in 2 months, 2 years, where I think now is the time, maybe, hey, if you want these books, that you might want to pick them up, because I do think that the value's gotten to a point where it's definitely worth picking up. And of course, the next day following that, I'm going to take a look at some books that I think you should be staying away from right now, on the opposite end, that I don't think are done coming down. So Monday, books that I think are a good time to buy, and Tuesday, books that I think I'd probably be staying away from, at least in the short term right now. So massive stuff coming this week. And of course, Thursday, as always, we have our Hot 10 breakdown of the week. We go through the Key Collector app and I break down the hottest comics according to them. If you guys haven't checked any of those out, make sure you're doing that as well, because there's a lot of good information on some of these videos. So with that said, I want to say hello to some people in the chat. What's going on? Robert Davis, man. If I wasn't going live, I just said, you know what? Let me throw together a thumbnail. I put it out on Instagram. I put it out on YouTube, maybe about 10 minutes before I came on. So like I said, if you're bored and you want to jump on right now, I'll send you the link to come on. Anybody out there who wants to talk, I'll send you a link. Just have a good camera, a good mic, and a good connection, and you can come on. So as always, anytime I do a live stream, I said, if you guys have questions, do me a favor, drop them in the chat. I'll always answer whatever. And of course, we could talk about whatever. I have no agenda today. I do have some unboxings that I was going to do like a separate video on, but you know what? I figured, what the hell? I have nothing going on. I'll unbox some stuff while people file in the chat. So why don't we do that? Since I said my piece about what's going on for the next week and the next month. So first box. Again, this is stuff that I collect, so I just definitely looking forward to getting this one. And it came super quick. I believe the pre-order was just like in the middle of last week, and it's now Sunday, and it is here. That is awesome. So I'm going to show you guys what I was able to pick up. Maybe you guys collect something like this. Maybe you don't, but This is a collectibles channel, and we talk everything collectibles, not just comics. So keep that in mind. So what else do you guys collect besides comics? You guys know I collect some toys, some statues, some figures, some arcade games, anything retro, pretty much. But I'm trying to like be good about money because I don't want to spend crazy amount of money. So I don't know if this is going to give it away. I don't think so. You could see it's just a box. Let's cut this open. Not the usual box that these things come in. So this is a little different. So Mill Skills 123 says he collects Star Wars and GI Joe toys. So this is something along the same lines there, Mill Skills. So let me know what you think of this one. This one actually, like I said, it just pre-ordered this week, and I came today, so I figured why not jump on here and show it. It is a Masters of the Universe Rock On from the Motu Origins line. This is a little different. So if you collect Motu Origins, they've packaged this thing totally different than they have in the past. So check this out. Look at the card. The card slides up. This is totally new to them. So it's not attached to the card. Wow, this is wild. Totally wild. I actually like this though. You could see the plastic sheen over the card is more protective this way. So for guys who like buy boxes to keep their cards in, their toys, you don't have to do that with this because it actually has a protective thing. It also has it, it's unpunched, obviously. Very, very cool. Love what they did with that. So I'm happy to add Rock On to the collection. Now, you guys know I do collect Masters of the Universe Origins, but I don't collect some of the newer figures, like the stuff that didn't come with the original line. I really have no interest in collecting. I want all the vintage figures. So they've done a lot of them. They're still missing guys like Cyclone, which I know they've announced, but he hasn't shown up yet. Too bad they haven't announced. I really love a Mechanic on card, Prince Adam on card. They haven't done that stuff. So we're going to see if they actually go ahead and do that because they're running out of characters and they're starting to make characters that I really have no interest in because they're not vintage characters. So with that said, we'll go from there. But I actually have another unboxing, but I totally forgot about to mention this to you guys. You guys know I'm giving away ASM 16 when we get to 7,000, but we're also giving away this. It's Amazing Fantasy original art, the cover, the print. Now, if you guys don't know, I got a buddy of mine who is actually an amazing artist, and he did the original artwork for this years ago, and it was sold on Elite Comics 11 for thousands and thousands of dollars. But he actually wanted to give the rest of his prints away, so I have 4 left to give away here, and they're to T the exact Amazing Fantasy 15 the way it was drawn years ago. So it's a print 11 by 17, so it's not original art, but it's from the original art. And we're going to give 4 of those away, 1 to 1 lucky subscriber, 1 to 1 lucky member, and then I'll figure out 2 others how to do it. But for me, I think I'm actually going to take one to King Khan and raffle it away and possibly give it away, that money to charity. I'm still thinking on that. So let me know in the comments if you think you are interested in that, if you're going to go to King Khan, and then we'll give it away by the end of the show and they can take it home with them. So we'll see. Danny, what's going on, brother? How are you? I figured I was just telling in the chat. I was bored out of my mind today, so I wanted to come through and figured see who's online. And I figured it's a nice day here on the East Coast. Nobody's probably online right now, but we got 14 people in the chat. I'm here to answer any questions you might have if you're interested. If not, that's totally fine. We're just talking comics. I'm talking what's going on with the channel, and I have one more unboxing for you guys today. So I'm just going to do that while I got you here. This is something I got off of Elite Collectibles 11, not Elite Comics 11. And I usually try to check out a lot of the streams when they're doing something that's vintage toys, because vintage toys can go for a hell of a lot of money. And when I can find something for a deal that I am interested in, I will try to go for it. Now, he's had on like some Motu guys, which I just showed. He's had some vintage stuff, which is really expensive. So I'm not going to go ahead and spend that kind of money on those things because I'm trying to keep it tight right now. I'm selling stuff. I'm putting that money into some other things that I've wanted throughout my collecting career. But this thing, when I saw it for the price, I'm like, you know what? This is really cool. I've always wanted this, and the price was right because you just don't see this that often. And when you do see it, it's a fortune. But I was able to snag this for a decent deal. So I said, you know what? Let me get this before somebody else does. And if I can get this box open, there we go. And put these scissors away before I hurt myself. He says he's headed home from work with his boys. It's my wedding anniversary today. Let's talk comic shop. So happy anniversary to you, bud. Tell your wife I said the same. Good to hear from you guys. Hope you guys got something good planned. But yeah, like I said, any questions you guys have, I'm always willing to answer it. So I'm happy that the seller packaged this well, because it is plastic, hard plastic, and I was afraid with shipping it might get damaged, but this actually looks to be in good shape. So do need that scissor again to open this up, but so I'm going to pose a question to you guys out there in the chat right now. What are you buying comics wise? Are you looking for anything? I started off this video talking about how the 2 videos I have coming out this week are massive ones. Monday video is the 2024 undervalued comics. So I'm not telling you to buy them, but they're books, in my opinion, that have dropped so far that I think they're worth picking up right now, because I think they've gone too far, or maybe they're books that haven't appreciated much over the years, and I just love them. So either way, you're going to check that out tomorrow. And then Tuesday, you're going to have a video about books I don't think have bottomed quite yet. And I'd probably hold off for a little bit longer, but we'll see. We'll see what people think. But check this out, man. This is super, super nice. I've always wanted one of these things. So check this out. Unfortunately, there is a little chip in the case here. I want to see if that was like that, or maybe it was damaged in transition, but it's not a big deal. But let me just check my packaging here. Hold on a second. So unfortunately, I think this is the way it came, but regardless, it's not a too big deal, because this is not a graded thing, but it's just a case for this. But check this out. It is an original Thundercats Lion-O mint on card. You don't see this thing too often, okay? As you can see, which is really nostalgic, the old school Toys R Us logo at the top, the price sticker. So it says $5.97. Imagine getting a figure back then for under $6. Now I think for a Motu figure, it's 20 something bucks, which is crazy. But this was the Mumra giveaway, where you could actually mail in and get a Mumra mailed to you. I actually did that when I was a kid, so I got the Mumra that was mailed to me. But I'm going to show you guys the back. Now, normally this is thousands of dollars, okay? Thousands and thousands of dollars. But the owner of this did tell me on Elite Collectibles 11 that the right side where Snarf was re-glued back on a little bit. It wasn't fully off, but they re-glued it back on because it was starting to come off. So that's why I got it for a steal, $500. Which, again, if you look these up on eBay, they're thousands of dollars for Lion-O. But because of that, uh, you know, I got it cheaply. This is what I was talking about, that I guess has a chip on it. I don't know if you can see that right there. Not a big deal. It's only on the case, but I am going to message the seller and send him a picture just to see if I can get some type of discount, even though I don't think it's a massive deal, but awesome, right? So we finally got the chat just kind of exploded while I was unboxing that. So let's go ahead and say hello to whoever jumped in here. Comics and Crypto. Hey, love your garbage pail kids you sent off. Reminded me of all the stickers I put on my bunk bed as a kid. Buying those. I'm going a PSA 9 master set of the 1990 Marvel Universe cards, 23 left. So awesome, man. Congratulations on that. Again, I peeled all my original cards as well for Garbage Pail Kids, and I put them in my notebooks and on my folders, especially. They had those awesome Garbage Pail Kids folders back in the day with Series 1, Series 2. I tried to collect those when I was a kid, but they're actually still cheap to buy now, but I don't know what I would do with them. But congratulations on that. They're really hard to get in higher grades. Any card that in PSA or CGC. Wobbly Wall, what's going on, brother? How are you? You think comic prices are going to keep dropping on comics? I'm surprised they still are. Well, I have a few. Like I said, the Tuesday video I want you to check out. I don't want to give it away, but members of the channel, I know most of you have watched that video already. So drop me a comments if you're watching. I know Robert's probably watched it. The books on that list, in my opinion, they're going to fluctuate. It's going to be a bottoming process. So I don't think we've hit the low yet. But what I will say is this: if you want to own any of those comics and you're a long-term holder, I think you're all right no matter what. It's just if you want to within the next couple of years, and I'll say 2 to 5 years, they're going to fluctuate. So if you're really worried about money, I would hold off. That's what the video is intended for. Milk says silver and bronze Marvel, mostly ASM and X-Men, and that's what he's looking for right now. So again, I love that. ASM right now, they are flying off people's live sales. I'm on live sales every night. Like whoever's out there, I'm always looking to see if there's something that's undervalued, or maybe they don't know what they have and they have something underpriced. The best guy, in my opinion, right now to buy from, and I'll give that information, is Dustin Lineback on Newsstand Collectors IG Live. Dude, he had some crazy good deals the other night. I bought some stuff from him. I'm waiting to get that stuff in. I'll probably be here this week, early in the week. So I'll do a video on those. But he is one of my favorites when he goes live because he's always willing to work with people. And the other day, a Newsstand Collector had somebody on there that he had some crazy ASM stuff that the prices were just wow. He got like a $500 ASM 5, which is that awesome Doctor Doom crossover. Somebody got like a ridiculous deal on it. They beat me to it because when I saw that, I'm like, oh shit, I got to buy that. But regardless, make sure you guys peel to live sales. Now, on the same thing, talking about that, I have seen some live sales where guys are just out of control still. Like I saw somebody yesterday with an ASM 41, First Rhino, a book that I love. He had a 6.0 for six. No, I'm sorry, no, I think it was a 4.0 for six, a 4.0 or 4.5 for 650. Now, I don't want to spoil anything, but Dustin had like 3 ASM 41s and he was giving them away at great prices. So that's what I look for when I'm going on a live stream. So keep your eyes peeled. So know who the good dealers are and the good like people who go live, because you'll know like whoever. I'm not saying like you have Elite, you have Grails, you have Diamond Goblin Club, you have Newsstand Collector, and you have a bunch of other people at Atlas Comics. It's not them, it's the people they bring on. You know when they're fairly priced or not, and you know when they're trying to get rid of books because they want to buy other things. That's when you should be hitting them up. So Comics Crypto says, comics, I'm buying all bronze and silver keys and runs. I finally started my Ghost Rider run and a Defenders run as well. Awesome. I think silver right now is the way to go. And you're going to find out tomorrow when that list drops of undervalued keys. There's some bronze on there as well, but silver's been beat to death. And I just think for some of the keys right now, it's a good time. Fred Gago, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, finally tracked down an affordable first appearance of Matt Hagen, Clayface Detective 298. That's another book that's super hot right now. I believe there is confirmation that he's going to be one of the villains in the next Batman movie, Batman 2, the Matt Reeves and Robert Pattinson. So I believe the main villain is going to be Hush, and then we're going to get Clayface as a side villain, Scarecrow, and there was like Professor Pig, I think was the other one. So I am definitely looking forward to that because the first one blew my mind. It did not think it was going to be as good as it was, and it was fantastic. Robert, what's going on, brother? How are you? I'm looking at pre-code horror books, nothing specific. I just love the covers. I agree with you. Pre-code horror right now is some of the hottest art that's out there. And I would love to collect it. At one point, I did collect it. I think I've told you guys numerous times. I had like 30 plus books, all pre-code horror, all raw. So they were awesome. But it was during the comic boom, and I had bought prior to the boom, and they weren't going up. So I'm like, oh, why am I holding on to this all this money? And then I could buy other books that I also really love and put it towards that where I know they're going up in value. So I love the covers, and I would also collect pre-code horror right now because I do love the covers. I have to really manage where I'm putting my money. So you'll see me sell stuff. You'll see me buy stuff. So there's a lot of good stuff coming on the channel just because of that, because I'm moving money from one thing over to something else. Hence this, which you'll never see. I never see this anywhere for sale. Yeah, there's a couple on eBay, and it may be in a worse condition than this one. Robert says back then minimum wage was like 275 though. So I agree. He's talking about the Thundercats, the 579 price. I don't know about 275. I don't know what it was, but I used to collect the He-Mans, the original vintage, and they were like $4 and change. So to get this for $5 and change, and now I think it's like if you could find one that's like mint on card is like 15 to 200 $2,000, 1,500 to 2,000. So for me to get this for what it was, I don't care that the one part has been glued back on. That's fine. Danny, you picked up an ASM 300 9.8 for a great deal. I don't want to spoil anything for you, but it's on one of my videos on Monday or Tuesday. So hopefully it's on the right list. If not, and I'm just giving you my opinion, but hopefully you got it for an awesome deal. Oh, we have some comic book royalty in the house. What's going on, Chris? How you doing? Thanks for joining me today. We're just hanging out. He says he's a good dealer. I know Chris does some live auctions and stuff on his channel, so make sure you're checking him out. He definitely has some great books for sale at times. So Chris was also, when I first got back into comics back in like 2017, 2018, he was one of the first channels that I found. So he does try to help people out as much as he possibly can with books. There were some books that I didn't know about that he helped me obtain when I first got back in. So nobody's the comic god. I put it that way, right? I always say to people, I'm not the comic god. I don't know everything about comics. In fact, there's so many more people who do YouTube or who do IG or wherever that know so much more than I do. What I know is, I'll be honest with you, is value, and I know history. So to me, history is what I care about, the history of some of these books. But with that said, you know, do know your history, study up, know prices, then you'll be more comfortable buying things once you do that. And grading as well if you like to collect roll books. Did you check the cert number first? Even then, if it's clean, I'd still be worried, not trying to shit on your pickup. So he's talking about Danny's ASM 300 9.8. Now, I'm going to give it away. That book is on my book on my list that I'd kind of hold off right now buying that book. And it's not it's something to do with that the um the reholdering scam. But if you check GPA right now, the last 9.8 sale was $3,500. But if you're on IG, you're seeing that book under 3,000 consistently for direct editions. People posting them for sale. So I'm sure your copy is fine. Obviously, you have to check the cert. I'm more concerned with looking at the book. Does the book present like a 9.8? If it does, and you got a fantastic deal, then I think you did fine. We'll see where that book ends up bottoming over the next 6 months to a year, I think. And that's when I would kind of jump into it. He says, nice to finally be around when you're live. Likewise, man. I always catch your shows when I'm driving home from work. So it's like, it's always in like the mid afternoon and I go to work early. So I always catch you. So I can't always comment because I'm driving. I know I've done that a couple times though. Yes, I agree. You know me, you know I did my homework. Well, that's all that matters. I'm familiar with the New York's accent, my friend, so do not worry about it. But like I'm always here, like I don't know if I can help you guys out. That's why I'm here. I was talking to my buddy Chef. If you guys aren't following Chef, I forget his Instagram handle on Instagram. He was asking me about some original art the other day, so I'm always here to answer emails. I get tons of Garbage Pail Kids emails from people asking what they should do with their cards. For me, if you guys want that information and you're watching that live stream, don't send anything to be graded unless it's high grade. I made that mistake of sending my entire series one in, and I spent like there's 82 cards, and they're like $10 a card, so it's a lot of money. I wish I didn't send them in. Yo, speaking of, dude, we got to play Lotto. There he is, Chef RD Harris. I was just talking about you, so dude, we got to play Lotto now. I literally just mentioned you, and you pop on the chat. That's crazy. Tomorrow morning, that's the first thing I'm doing is playing lottery. But now I lost my train of thought. You got me so excited. You popped in here, but yeah, you guys can see I'm like moving money from one thing to another right now. Outside of my Motu, which there's very few characters they're going to come out with nowadays. That to me is an easy buy for 20 something bucks. But this thing was awesome. I had to pick it up. And don't forget, like I was saying before, that AF15 giveaway. That's going to happen when we get to 7,000. It's going to be one sub, and then someone else is going to get that ASM 16. And of course, a member is going to get some. I'm laughing because he says buy some scratch offs. And one member is going to get one of those as well, and that'll leave me with two. But that's it, man. We're just hanging out, talking comics. So everybody said right now, somebody who's buying X-Men and ASM. Anybody else looking for anything? For me, I'm looking for value. You're going to see that tomorrow. when that video comes out, what books I think are in the value range, and there's plenty more. So when that video comes out, if you think you want to add to that list, drop them down in the comments because maybe I'll do a part two if I agree with it. But anytime I can find Silver Age Amazing Spider-Man for value, or even Bronze Silver Age, even Bronze Spider-Man, I think is always a good buy if you get it for value. I do think ASM 129 is a book that I don't want to buy another copy right now, but I think it's getting to the point where it's come down so much that if you're a long-term holder, you might want to pounce on it sooner rather than later. But it remains to be seen. We have a. I always say bottoming is a process, but I'm looking for deals and value. What's your go-to comic shop in Philly, Jersey area? So I haven't been to Philly. I went to college in Philly, but I haven't been down there forever. I know there was just a con yesterday, Zolo Con, I think it was called. I didn't make it to that. Um, North Jersey, I could tell you, Zap Comics is the best comic shop in the area. And if you follow them on Instagram and you see them post a book that you want, they'll mail it to you. You'll have to pay for shipping, but they will mail it to you, and they'll do stuff like that, which is awesome. So I know somebody who always snatches books off there who doesn't even live in the country. So, but he has it sent to a friend in the country, and then the friend mails it to him. So they're the best, in my opinion. So shout out to Zap. Other than that, there's a bunch of different comic shops in my area in Jersey. There's also a little bit down south from me is Jam Comics. They always do live streams as well. They did one last night on YouTube. When I went to New York Comic Con this year, they were set up. They were also set up at Big Apple Con, and we used one of the few vendors that was reasonably reasonably priced. I picked up like 30 ASM books for my run at New York Comic Con just from him. So if you like ASM, hopefully he still has some. I didn't clean him out, but he always has some keys. So follow them also on IG, Jam Comics. I got to make it down to Philly. I'm trying to get people from my school to do like a fraternity get together, but nobody ever seems to like want to put it together. Michael, what's going on, brother? Finally got my ASM 20 CGC 2.5 Scorpion, finally at a great price. Dude, so it's funny you mentioned that because when I did my Hot 10 breakdown of the week this week, there was a book that somebody paid. It was, I think it was the Madam Web book, the 210. And that's on one of my lists on those videos this week too, which I'm sure you can guess. But somebody paid up for that book, and I said, you know what? If you're going to spend up for this book in high grade, why wouldn't you buy like an ASM 20 in low grade? It's a first Scorpion. It's a better character. I think it was that book, but to me, I agree. Like that's an undervalued ASM key, and it's number 20. It's the first appearance of the Scorpion, and even 19, if you can get that for a deal, first Matt Gargan, I always think is a better buy than some of the newer books, the Copper Age books that people are spending high dollar amounts on right now. I'm not buying copper, especially in high grade with everything that's going on with the reholdering scam. And there's a lot of copies out there. So to me, that's a great buy, Michael. It's a very affordable Spider-Man key. And I know Chris always says if low grade is better than no grade, and I agree with him. Just to own the book, the only thing I'll say to you is make sure it's complete. I think it's better for resale value if you ever did want to get rid of it. TJNO Show, what's going on, brother? I love your avatar. Chris says, if you know anybody that has an extra AF-15 on their hands and wants to do a trade, please send them my way. I will do that, my friend. I always see stuff on Instagram, and people are looking to trade on Instagram. I always see that. So if you get on Instagram, dude, message me. I'll send you one if I see it. Sometimes it's hard to do that via email. But let me ask you this, Chris, and so I have you here. I know you have a ton of keys in your collection, multiples of tons of keys. Why not just try to sell a bunch and then take that cash and flip it over and buy the AF-15? A lot of times people in trade, they want more value. So you'd be trading more in value from the books that you have than if you just paid outright from selling the books. So that's what I'll leave to you. Yes, you don't have to pay the fees, but I know you do a good job of selling books on your channel anyway. Jeff had a great selection, low grade, early SM. Are you talking about Jeff from Jam Comics, bud? Because I agree, he had a ton of stuff at New York Comic Con. I was at his booth for literally like an hour, and then he said, "I have more stuff. Let me dig it out. Can you come back?" I said, "Yes, I'll be around for a bit." And then I ended up going back, and he wasn't ready yet. An hour later, so I ended up going back an hour later, and then he had a few more for me. So he did an awesome job. He's such a good dude. Definitely check him out. Here's a good tip for a comic to get that many are not looking at. Get the Avengers versus X-Men series. They're going to do a movie about it eventually. So that's what Chris from We Love Comics says. Danny says he agrees with ASM 129. He's about to buy one. Now I have an I have a 6.5 CGC. I'd love to get a raw copy. That was raw before I sent it in, and now I wish I didn't send it in because, well, that's a whole nother story. But at one point I had like 7 ASM 129s because they were all like $400 to $500 each, and they were so cheap. And I'm talking about mid grade to like fine grade. So they were all just insanely cheap and they were undervalued at one point. That's why I was buying them left and right. And I knew that they were going to go because Punisher's a huge character, and the cover is a top 5 cover in my opinion of all time in Marvel. That Gil Kane John Romita cover is one of the best. And you guys know I love Romita, and Gil Kane is so underappreciated. So I would love, you don't ever see anything signed by him either. I would love to get something signed by him. One of the few guys that I don't have signed. Ah, so there you go. He says because you don't get charged tax for a trade. That's why he doesn't want to buy one outright. But I'm telling you, Chris, get on IG. There's so many people out there that I can recommend to you that are formidable where you won't pay tax, and they will do trades as well. So like I said, if you want to start one, hit me up. I know you have a ton of followers that will also hit you. I'll hit you up on there. So yeah, for me, and like I said, drop me. And this is impromptu. Like I said to you guys, it's 2:08, so I have no agenda today until later. So any questions you guys want to ask or comments, I'm here with you talking about stuff today. Um, I'm also going to give away. I forgot about this. The Mystic Park cards. I have some here. Give me a second. Mythic Park, not Mystic Park. Mythic Park. I did a video on these that they asked me to do, and these are some of the rare ones. I'm gonna be giving away. They have like 8 boxes, 7 or 8 boxes left of these that we're gonna be giving away on the channel. And I gotta start doing that. So you know what? There. Sorry. The camera's not focused. Pretty cool. Anybody interested in these today? Because maybe I'll give one away right today. Let me know. If you're interested, I have a whole box of them down there that I can get them together. Maybe we'll run something if you guys are interested. But I usually do a comment picker, but I don't remember how to do that on freaking StreamYard. Let me see. While I got you guys here. Oh shit. All right, here we go. So if you want one of these, all right, we're going to type in hashtag mythic, Mythic. I think that's how you spell it. Yeah, Mythic. Can you guys see that? Oh, there you go. It's pulling the data on the side. So if you type in Mythic, so Mala Toys, you just spelled it wrong. So take your time. I'll do it in like 5 minutes. So it's no rush. So Mala, retype it. Mythic. So just do it once. If you've done it once, you're good. Because right now we have, it says there's only 2 entries. Mythic. So you know what? Type it without the hashtag. I don't know why this thing only says 2. I see a bunch of them here. I see Commerce and Crypto, Mill Skills. Oh, Danny mistyped it. There you go. Let's see. There's 3. So, yeah, no, it's definitely with the hashtag, with the hashtag, with the hashtag. We're going to give it some time anyway. I'll do it like 2:20 or so. So just, it's definitely with the hashtag Mythic. There we go. Now we got at least 5. So definitely hashtag Mythic that enters you, and then we'll run that later. So if you're interested. So Chris says on the X-Men versus Avengers because he has a feeling they're going to do the modern Secret Wars version. I'm not the original Secret Wars version with all the incursions that would be a great time to bring in Miles Morales. That's true. I think it's going to be a mishmash. I think they're going to take from all storylines and do something like that. Now, I don't know if everybody has heard, but they're scrapping Kang, not altogether, but they're going to limit his role going forward. They're going to change Avengers 5 from the Kang Dynasty to something else. And I have a feeling that whoever they choose to be the bigger villain is going to kill Kang off and he's going to take control. Could be the Beyonder, could be Doctor Doom. I hope it's not Doom because they really need to set him up properly before they go into that. But they can have Doom involved in some way, but they can't kill him off after Secret Wars. That's for sure. Yeah, we're up to 7 entries, so that's definitely the way to go. What's going on, James? How you doing, brother? So the cool thing about with these cards is check out their website because um each card, like the variant cards are numbered. So this one is like a 2 of 2 card for this character. You could barely see it. Towards the there you see it 0002 of 0002. So this card of this character, Dismal Dwight, in this format with the blood spatter, there's only 2 cards available. So I have one. This is a drip card, and there's someone else has another one of this character, and that's it. And so those are the ones that I think down the line could be something. And I think they said they're going to send me when they do series 2. We'll do it again. But I have 8 boxes or 7 boxes to give away. We're going to give away 1 box today, and maybe we'll do that every time we have a live stream. So again, if you're interested in that, it's hashtag Mythic MYTHIC. If you see that in the chat, that's why you're seeing it. But any more comic or toy stuff going on, or hell, collectible shit? So Chef says, what if Henry Cavill is playing as Doctor Doom? You heard he signed up as Marvel. Who knows? So I saw something this morning that he's not playing Doctor Doom. He's playing a variant of Wolverine in Deadpool 3, which makes sense because I could see him playing Wolverine. And is he going to be the Wolverine going forward in the MCU? If he shows up in Deadpool 3 as a variant, they could always say later on down the line that version of Wolverine is the one that's going to stick around because Hugh Jackman is not going to stick around past Secret Wars. I can tell you that right now. He's done. So with that said, is he going to be Wolverine? I could see Henry Cavill as Wolverine. He'd be a good one because he's only like 6 feet. I know some people want like that true 5'5" Wolverine. I don't think Marvel's going that route. I just don't see it happening. So, we'll see. I could see him that. I think people saw him as Captain Britain, but it all depends on what he wants to do. Does he want a short-term role in the MCU? Does he want a long-term role? I think that Wolverine option gives him a short-term role. Captain Britain will also give him a slightly longer role, but I also think that they could use him in Deadpool 3 as that Wolverine variant, and then he can make fun of him. Deadpool make fun of him, like, hey, aren't you Superman? Stuff like that. Chris has another book that is asleep right now is New Mutants 87 because Josh Brolin still has a contract to be in 3 other movies. And you notice he was not in Deadpool trailer scene. So he did confirm. Somebody asked him if he was in the Deadpool movie and he said, we'll see. So this is after he already, they've completed finishing this movie. They asked him. So I have a feeling Chris is right. And then he's going to have a cameo in that movie. And, we'll see what happens after the fact. I wasn't a huge fan of him as Cable. I would like a bigger version of Cable because that's how it was in the comics. But I thought he was good. I think he's coming back as Thanos as well, from what I've heard. I also saw that, Danny, that Henry Cavill will be playing Cyclops. I don't see that. I don't think he'd be a bad Cyclops, but that's a role that I think, I don't know. I don't think he'd have too much interest in playing the character. He'd fit like a bigger character like Wolverine, in my opinion. But I did see that on YouTube. He would rather seen Henry Cavill as Sabretooth than Wolverine because he's way taller. See, I agree with he could play Sabretooth as well. I thought it'd be a good Sabretooth. But he does look like that. He has that, like, if you ever see him, like with our shirt, it's very hairy. So he can grow the beard that we know. So I definitely think he could pull off both of those characters as well. As a variant of Wolverine, it would make sense for him to play Captain Britain. It's possible. I don't like seeing characters that like play one guy as a variant and play someone else as in the MCU. I don't think that's cool. To me, like I get what they would do with Chris Evans, come back as Johnny Storm from the Fantastic Four, but I just think that would be a little corny. And then you see him as Captain America and be like, wait a minute, I don't know. I'd rather see multiple different actors as a character, and then you know have one of those guys stay on as the future in the MCU. I also think they want a younger cast for X-Men. How about Magneto? Henry Cavill as Magneto. I also think he'd be a good Magneto as well. I could definitely see that. I don't. You look like you know how to fight. Are you referring to me? I'm a lover, not a fighter. But if I had to throw down, I would. Thomas Palmer, what's going on, brother? How are you? Membership. What's going on? Another member of the channel, along with Robert, who's here. I wouldn't touch ASM 129 right now. Collectors don't value the book anymore. Another book that is no longer valued is Batman 181. It is also still dropping. I love Batman 181. To me, because you have incomplete copies of that book, it only drives up the value of complete copies. And there's a lot of incomplete copies of 181. And it's funny how, one is a pinup and the Hulk 181 has that Marvel stamp and they're both always missing them. So I disagree on that one. The 129, I could see we are getting a lot of copies out there. So not everybody wants to jump in, but like I said, all bronze right now is a crapshoot unless you're holding 20 years. That's my opinion. If Henry played as Galactus, oh, that would be fire. I don't see that happening. I think they have to have him on screen, and whoever plays Galactus. I'm laughing at the next comment that's coming up. Henry Cavill should play Storm. No, and I know he's joking, but no. What was I saying? Galactus needs to be someone with just like a great voice, like a Josh Brolin to me as Thanos. Like you can't. Every time you hear the guy speak, that's all I think about is Thanos. So the Galactus has to have that same type of voice. They're talking about Javier Bardem or what's the other guy? Antonio Banderas. I can't see Banderas. To me, doesn't have the voice. Bardem definitely has that monotone voice that I think could pull that off. Nothing says Henry Cavill as Cyclops would be dope, but I think he would look funny as a blonde. And I think there's a dozen better actors as a tall blonde jock type than Cavill. I agree with you. But Cyclops isn't blonde, is he? I thought he had like light brown hair. Thomas Palmer says that AF-15 seems to be on the upswing. It's been like that for the better like year and so. Like the lower grades seem to be doing better than the higher grades. So that's because people still want to get into that book, for the least amount of money they can. Not everybody could spend 100 grand on a book or even 50 grand on a book, but like a 1.0, like a 1.5, they're still selling for a minimum $15,000 to $20,000. Like a 2.5 is around 25. 3.0s are like 30. So it's 10 grand per full point, especially in the lower grades. To me, it's just if you can just buy any of 15, if you're a Spider-Man fan, it's worth it. Yeah, any animalistic character, I could definitely see Henry Cavill playing. Like people are saying as Doctor Doom. I don't see him as Doctor Doom. Somebody was talking about James Bond. What's his name? What's the guy's name who plays James Bond right now? They were talking about him, Daniel Craig. That's it, as Doctor Doom. And that's an interesting. That's an interesting actor to play that character. I could see him pulling that off. Absolutely. A lot of people talking about Cillian Murphy. I think he'd be a great actor. He's 5'7" though. I don't see that unless they're going to have an all. Doctor Doom has to have a face before whatever. So I can't see that happening because he's only 5'7". I know Robert Downey Jr. is like 5'8" or whatever he is, and he could pull off Iron Man, but Doom was a totally different animal. He's like 6'4" in the comics or 6'3", whatever he is. Yeah, I think, as I said, Henry as Magneto is perfect. I think it would be great as that. If you watch, even though it's a hard watch, what is it? It's not Batman, the Justice League, where he is Justice League, or is it? Yeah, I think it is, where he's got the black costume Superman from there. His facial expressions to me were exactly Magneto, so I would love to see that. I am not a boxer, my friend. Says Magneto and Professor X need to be older, just not too old that they're age out of the role. I mean, they could bring back those Fox characters. Fassbender is not too old, and same with the dude who plays Professor X. I don't see them doing that, but it's possible. Says the actor that played the Scarecrow in Batman. That's Cillian Murphy, but I said he's 5'7", man. I don't see that as Doom. I think he's a great actor, great face for Doom. I just can't see him portraying a guy who's supposed to be 6'3" or 6'4". I don't see it. Doom is very imposing, not just physically, but mentally. So he's got that mental part of it. Physically, he's not an imposing character. He's that perfect Scarecrow type of character who's like very frail, very skinny, almost Joker-like. If Disney had their way, they would pick Whoopi Goldberg to play this. You're probably right. Even though I did see that Bob Iger said that they're going back to all male lead characters. So that's a good thing. And I don't have a problem with female leads. Absolutely not. What I do have a problem with is that trying to cast female leads as characters that were portrayed as male in the comics. And I've said this from day one. If you're going to come out with a show or a movie featuring comic book characters, you have to stick to the source material, meaning don't change the costumes. And the MCU has been very, very good. We're trying to be as comic book accurate as they can with regarding costumes. But lately, of course, they want to take these characters like the female Silver Surfer, which has now been debunked. So we're going to get a real Silver Surfer. They have to stick to comic storylines. I don't like, that's why Sony has failed with their movies, because they make up stuff. Like if you just stick to the script that's been written for you for the past so and so many years through comics, you're going to do just fine. And when you start changing things and moving stuff around and casting actors that don't fit the roles, what do you expect? Look at Madam Web. Does Dakota Johnson look anything like Madam Web from the comics? Madam Web from the comics, 110 years old or whatever she is, looks nothing like the character. So right off the bat, when you do that, it tells me, all right, you're going to F up this movie. Now, if you're telling me it's a prequel to her becoming that later on down the line, all right, you could tell me that, but now you still got to go out and take comic book accurate stuff and convert it into film or TV, and they don't do that. Steve White, what's going on? Danny says inserts in the boots. Hell, Tom Cruise is short and he definitely make him look taller with an angle. Yeah, but Tom Cruise hasn't played a superhero. Hell, Tom Holland is short, but Spider-Man is small. Spider-Man is not he's not supposed to be 6 foot plus. He's supposed to be a high school kid, and not all high school kids are 6 foot plus. I think casting a 5'8" guy to play Spider-Man is perfect because that's what most kids are. That's what I am. Andrew was a little bit taller, and Toby was, I think, around 5'8" or 5'9". So that's fine. To get somebody to play a character that's 6'4", that's different, man. I mean, you can't do that. I mean, Robert Downey Jr. killed that role, and Iron Man was a little bigger, but in the suit, you can't tell how tall he is, because in the suit, 9 times out of 10, he's in the suit. I mean, him portraying Tony Stark is just perfection. But yes, I guess he could get into Doctor Doom, but he needs to have, Doctor Doom has his own, persona before he becomes Doctor Doom, and they have to build that up. And I just don't see it. I think there are better casting choices, in my opinion. That's all. I mean, we could agree to disagree on that. We'll see what the MCU does. Like, I didn't think Pedro Pascal, when I look at him, I don't see Reed Richards. I just don't see it. The guy's a great actor. We're going to find out if I'm wrong. I thought John Krasinski did a good job. I see Reed Richards when I see him 100%. I thought there were other actors, even other guys who weren't Caucasian, that I thought, you know what, that reminds me of Reed Richards if they wanted to go that route. I didn't see Pedro Pascal as that, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's definitely big enough to play Reed Richards. Otme, what's going on? You think MCU can permanently affect the values of certain books going forward, or is it just temporary? Example, Avengers 8. So I hate to be the bearer of bad news with this book, but I put it on one of those lists that we talked about earlier. And this book, it's done. It's done. Now, if you're a big Avengers fan and you're a big Kang fan, you want it on the book regardless of the movies. So yes, I still think MCU can affect the values of books. But here's the thing. Look at all the books that it affected in the beginning. There were bigger keys. Journey into Mystery 83, Tales of Suspense 39, all bigger characters. Iron Man, Thor, Ant-Man. And guess what? Scott Lang as Ant-Man is still under $100 in high grade for a raw copy. So it didn't really do anything for that book. One of my favorite covers from that age, because I love that cover. But it drives prices of certain books that eventually come back down. But I always say, like, if you want to buy books for money wise, you want to stick to the best of the best. That doesn't mean you shouldn't buy other books. That's not what I'm saying. I always say, like, and I know people get annoyed at me for saying this, but like Wolverine #1. I'm not saying people shouldn't go out and buy that book. I love the book. I love Frank Miller. If you know me personally, Frank Miller is one of my all-time favorite reads in comics. But I don't think you need to spend 700 something dollars on a 9.8 when there's so many copies out there. Just own the book for like 100 to $150 because it's an awesome cover and Frank Miller was awesome back then. I don't see the value in spending 700 and change on a 9.8. Yes, own the book, but if you're going to spend that kind of money, put it towards a bigger key. That's just me. You do what you want. I do think MCU can permanently affect certain values of certain books, not all books. Like, remember the Kang books that were going up, not Avengers 8, but all the other ones, like the Marvel Age book. Like, I knew, like, people were driving that books like $80. It was like a $10 book or $5 book. And that's maybe it goes to like 20. Okay. But that's it. I would buy books that it drives value either Silver Age or the bigger keys in the Bronze Age. That's just me. Chris says, I don't think anybody actually writes a script anymore. I think they're just using Chat GTP. It's possible. Definitely possible. Some of the scripts have been very bad, but I don't think certain movies were as bad as people said, like Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. There was definitely some plot holes that were there, but it was entertaining. An hour and 45 minutes. I didn't regret going to the movie theater, and I don't go to see every Marvel film there is. Like, I didn't see Captain Marvel, the second one. There are certain things I'm not going to go see, but I'll go see every Spider-Man movie that's made. I didn't go see the Sony ones because I knew ahead of time they were not going to be good. But like, I didn't see the last Thor movie because I know it just didn't appeal to me. But like movies like that, they stuck to the script, and like I could tell by the trailer, like the storyline they were trying to tell, or like the information I got ahead of time that, hey, they're kind of going ahead with this storyline and they're adapting it a little bit. Like, that's the stuff that I want to go see because that I know about. Stuff like that. I don't mind them changing certain things. It's when they get to the point where they change everything or they change a costume to a point where I think it's ridiculous. That's what I don't like. Like I said, the undervalued list comes out. To me, there's still some awesome books that I if you see me on a live sale and you see me buy something, it's because that book's undervalued. It's not because I actively need to collect this stuff right now. It's just like, wow, you know what? That book is only for that. All right. And then I like to hop on sales with people that I know give good prices. All right. You know what? It's 2:30. So let's run that giveaway. All right. There's 7 entries. We're going to do it. I'm going to run it right now. So good luck to all the people and I'll reveal the winner in a second. I got to find out how to share this fucking thing now again. All right, here you go. The winner is Steve White. Congratulations, my brother. Steve White, you won the Mythic Park pack. I think it's got like 5 or 6 packs in there. So, Steve, do me a favor, buddy. Contact me at my email. It's in the description of every video, and just send me your address, and I will get that to you ASAP this week. Okay. But congratulations to Steve. I always see you on here, so I'm glad you got it. And like I said, I got like 6 or 7 more. So anytime I come on live, we'll run one. But Steve, you are the winner. Congratulations. There we go. Should have been on like almost been on an hour already, which is crazy because it's time always flies when we're going live. But any more questions regarding comics, dude? Like, I'm gonna promote myself with a couple of things here. I still have some of these Mind Blown Mighty cards left. If anybody's interested, a few more signed and the rest unsigned. So check out in the description of the videos. You'll see link to my merch store. You can find them there. Chris says the Ant-Man movie pretty much destroyed Kang the Conqueror. He was so easily defeated in that movie that no one would take him seriously after that to do anything scary or intimidating. Well, I think from what I heard that they had multiple endings planned for that movie. And depending on if they got an answer within Jonathan Majors, case, that they were going to go with a different outcome. But I think they probably went the right way if they were going to fire him. And that's, killing off that variant of Kang. So for storytelling purposes from the MCU, I mean, I would have just not fired the guy. from what I heard from the case, but that's just me. But they got their own agenda to deal with. So, it is what it is. The movie underperformed as well. And I don't think they thought this out with how not a popular character that Kang was. To comic people, yes, very popular, but to the average fan who doesn't go through comics, who doesn't read comics, not a lot of people knew Thanos either. But at the same aspect, they built that over 10 plus years that everybody was already all in on Thanos anyway, so it was going to work. And then when the movies were awesome to boot, but the fact that the movies have been flailing, and then Jonathan Majors issues, and then you find out, that Kang's not really a popular character amongst some comic fans, and then nobody knows him if you're not a comic fan. It made sense to kind of get off that. So we'll see who they choose. I have a feeling, comic accuracy, it's the Beyonder, and then Doctor Doom. And I have a feeling it's going to be the Beyonder, and Doom may get involved with something small towards the end of Avengers Secret Wars. Just like in the comics, he steals Beyonder's powers. Maybe they leave it on a cliffhanger. Secret Wars. I don't know. We'll find out. Back in the day, they said they were going to be Secret Wars 1 and 2 films, so they're going to break it up in 2 parts. That would make more sense because they have more time to develop Doctor Doom at that point. But you can't kill him off either way. You can't kill him off like you killed off Thanos. There's no way you can kill off. He's got to stay in the MCU no matter what. He's the biggest villain. Oh man, that's it, ladies and gents. How come there are no women that ever watch my YouTube channel? That's what I want to know. It's all guys. Not that I mind. I know women out there collect comic books. Say hello if you're in the chat. Yeah, we'll see what the MCU does. I'm definitely looking forward to the Fantastic Four movie, regardless of the casting. I think that it's a decent job, so I'm definitely looking forward to that movie. And obviously, this year, Deadpool 3, everybody's going to go see that movie, and I think they're going to set up a lot of stuff that hopefully for the future we'll want to see. But it's in their hands. They have to make the Fantastic Four movie just as good as Iron Man, just as good as Captain America movies, Infinity War. They have to do that. If they don't, then they're finished. That's the movie that's going to say, hey, all right, we have to continue to watch MCU movies. The problem was they kept unmasking Kang. His mask is what made him intimidating. I understand why they did it because they need to show the actor, but just like Doom, he wouldn't be as intimidating. So I agree with you 100%, especially regarding Doom, because how often do you see Doom without without the mask? Not that often. So he has to have the mask. And they have to do a better job than they did in the previous movies with Doom because I did not like the way he was portrayed. They have to get this right. I think Deadpool 3 is going to be hit it out of the park. Because if you look at all like the early success, Iron Man, correctly casted character. Captain America, correctly casted actor, I should say. Then you go to like some of the other Doctor Strange, correctly casted actor. Thanos, correctly casted actor. And then you look at Deadpool. There is nobody else on this earth that could play Deadpool. I'm sorry. They're going to have other Deadpool variants in this movie, and it's all going to be for fun and games. But there's only one guy who could play this role, and it's Ryan Reynolds. So I think after Deadpool's over and after Secret Wars is over, he's done playing the character. So he's going to go on and do different things, and Deadpool will be done. And I'm okay with that, but it is not going to disappoint. I am 100% positive if I have anything that he is going to bring out a tremendous movie. And that's what I've heard actually from Kevin Feige said that they were very happy with the way this movie turned out. So it's going to be awesome. And Disney better not F it up by not making it rated R. I've already heard that like Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are like cursing left and right. That's how it's got to be. That's how it has to be. They cannot change that shit. Chris says he has one woman that watches his channel, and that's my wife, and she barely ever watches it. At least she barely watches yours. My wife never watches my stuff. Never. I'm happy she doesn't yell at me when I'm down here doing this stuff, but she never watches my stuff. Nothing says I think Deadpool will be better. That's better the 2, but not as good as 1. But that's just my hunch. 1 was awesome. I agree with you. I wasn't a huge fan of 2, but the 1 was one of my favorite Marvel movies, even though it wasn't an MC movies that was ever made. It's just I could watch it over and over and over, no matter what, because there's a lot of comedic relief. You don't just watch it for the story, you watch it for the characters. They were all portrayed perfectly. Even freaking Colossus. How great was Colossus? And then I would have never thought that they would portrayed him that way, but because of the way they did it, he's such an iconic character now because of the way they portrayed him. They 100% have to make sure Deadpool 3 is done right. If they did Deadpool like they did the Marvels, the MCU will officially be done at that point. I it would be, but from everything that I've heard, that this movie is freaking awesome. And if it's not, I 100% they're spectacularly done. But I have a feeling they're gonna get this right, and they better get FF right because that's the next one. And Spider-Man 4, I already hear there's issues with Sony with that. They want to get involved, and they just should not get involved at all. First threes, they were what they were. They weren't Spider-Man movies, right? A majority of that stuff, the storytelling had very few to do with comics. They had comic accurate characters, which I liked, but we didn't get a comic book storyline regarding Spider-Man. And now I think from what I've heard with the whole um grounded storyline with Kingpin is running for mayor, like I want to see that. And I want to see Spider-Man give up being Spider-Man again because of what Kingpin is doing, how they they're talking about how they're banning superheroes, they're banning vigilantes. So maybe he gives up being Spider-Man and then he realizes that he has to be Spider-Man. That's who he is now. Like I want to see that done right. They did it a little bit in Spider-Man 2, but I want to see it done right with the Kingpin and that whole storyline. Uh, I think it would be awesome. I think now's the time to do that. And that's what Sony doesn't get. You need comic accurate storylines. We've seen the death of Gwen Stacy now once. We've seen MJ once. Get to the other stuff. There's so many great storylines. They did show. I'll give them that. They when the Goblin realized who Peter Parker was in the first Spider-Man movie, they going to Aunt May's house and blowing off her roof or the window, and then coming in and says, you know, finish it. Like I like that because that was a little bit throwback to the comic in ASM 39, which is my favorite cover. But I want to see more of that stuff. Get to like the Rhino. I want to see Kingpin pulling the strings, and we get a comic accurate Rhino with a suit. I want to see a comic accurate Scorpion, which they set that up now. I want to see that. I want to see the Craven come into this also, maybe as like a hero for hire, where they hunt down this vigilante Spider-Man, and then maybe they carry it over into the Spider-Man 5, right? At the end of Spider-Man 4, he hires Craven to go after Craven's last hunt for Spider-Man. Like that's how you set up 5, and then at the end of that movie, he gets a symbiote, and then that sets up Venom for Spider-Man 6. So they should let me write this shit because I could do better than a lot of these people out there because I know the lore. So I would love to see that done. That's the way I would do it. Set up some of these crazy good original characters. We're not going to get a Doc Ock again. We're not going to get a Goblin again. Eventually, Hobgoblin. We got to see Ned turn into the Hobgoblin as well. But maybe he does. He turns into Hobgoblin, goes after Spider-Man in like 5 or 6, and then maybe at one point he gives it up, or maybe Tom cures him and then he helps him defeat Venom. Stuff like that is what we need to see. Yeah, Sony sucks, bro. I don't know what they're doing. It's really just if Marvel was just pay them whatever they want for Spider-Man, because once you do that, or buy the studio, that's even a better. Buy the studio, and then you have access to everything back and whatever else they want to make. I know it's money, but you know what? Spider-Man is what sells. No one will ever not go see Spider-Man movie. Every movie they come out with will make $1 billion no matter what, because that's how popular character is. So all these other characters, like people say you can't go and make a Spider-Man villain movie like Sony's doing. I think you can. You just have to do it right. If you're telling me I could set up a Craven movie, that they're setting up a Craven movie, but it has nothing to do with the comics, and they're coming up with their own origin stories. Like you can't do it that way. You got to be true to the comics and set up an origin story for this character. Even if it's like on a Disney Plus hour-long show, like they're going to do it for Silver Surfer, that's what Marvel can do. Set up Craven through an hour-long special on Disney Plus. Set up another version of Doc Ock down the line on a hour-long show on Disney Plus. Same with all these minor characters. You tell me you needed a Madam Web movie. You could have brought Madam Web into the Agatha Harkness series that you're doing. So that's where Sony F that thing up as well. So they have an unlimited potential to set up the minor characters in Disney Plus. They don't have access to those spider characters, and that's why they need them back, because there's so much potential if they did those things right. But Sony's just they throw caution to the wind. Just they think because they need to keep the IP, they have to put out a movie every 2 years, and they throw up garbage. And they're ruining a universe that they could have set up for themselves because Marvel's allowing them to kind of have that separate universe within the MCU, and whatever they're doing is just awful. Awful, awful. You hear these artists and these people talk about how they don't even read the comics. They don't take inspiration from the comics. It's all over YouTube. It's all over TikTok. But the people who are writing the movies, they don't look into the source material. And that's it. The first thing you're going to do is fail when these things happen. You're not taking stuff from the source material. This is me ranting at this point. So, but 100%. You want Disney Plus, Kevin Feige, reach out to me. I could do a better job of setting up your Spider-Man villain characters on Disney Plus show. I could do it right now. Each character, 100%. I could write the whole thing. Same with DC. How many great Batman villains are there that they haven't properly set up? But I will say this: they're doing a great job with that Penguin. Penguin's gonna have his own show as well on HBO. They're setting up that character from the Batman universe with Matt Reeves, so I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a good show. I think DC is starting to do it right now with those type of things. Back off all that Snyder stuff because it was not good. James Gunn will fix Superman. I know they just started filming that as well. But they're going to start to set up, and I hope they keep doing this. They have a Penguin series, and then hopefully they have another series with another character. And set up these minor characters, these villains in that world for Batman, and that is the way to do it. Stiltman origin. I don't know if we want to go that minor character, but yeah, you could absolutely. You could do anything you want. That's the whole point, and that's where Disney Plus should get involved. Stuff like that, because the people who subscribe, those are the people going to watch that type of stuff. Then nobody's going to the movies to watch that. Sixto Garcia says, I still feel ashamed about Morbius, and it's been almost 2 years since that movie came out. Dude, it was terrible. It was terrible. If it just made a 1 hour short on how he became Morbius, that's all you need. That's enough to set up the character, to include him into your universe, and then you don't need anything else. He'll show up in a future movie as like a minor villain. He doesn't need to be part of the Sinister Six because he wasn't until maybe later on, way later on down. So he doesn't need to do that. With like guys like the Vulture, that's the kind of character who deserves to get his own movie, and they did it right. Again, it wasn't comic accurate, but that's fine. It's a kind of a tough character to be comic accurate about. He wasn't going to be a bald guy having wings. He was never going to do that. He was bald, but he was never going to have original wings, like a suit. They made it into a mechanical suit and they brought it into the MCU as Stark tech, or alien tech, Chitauri tech, which is fine. Like that's the stuff that you have to do. Chris says the only way Disney would hire you to write for them is if you told them you identify as they, them. Well, that's not happening. I identified as me, him, or I don't even identify because it's ridiculous, but you know what I mean. Second best Bob. That is an awesome handle. Who's the first best Bob? That's who I want to know. Hey there from England. Great to catch you live. What's up, Bob? How you doing, brother? That is a great avatar, brother. Again, I want to know who the first best Bob is. But yeah, man, I'm having fun. I'm gonna go another 15 minutes, and then it's 3 o'clock, and then I'll probably jump off because what the hell? It's been an hour and a half, and we're just bullshitting. It's just me for a way. I always invited someone on here. Like when I go on these things, if I'll share the link. You just have to have a mic. So Chris, next time you're on, dude, get on the mic, come on, and just have a conversation, or anybody for that matter. I think you're a great driver. So I'm starting to think I may know who this person is, but I'm not sure. We'll see. Someone messing with me in my own home, or possibly somebody that I know. Is anybody reading anything right now? I'm going back and reading the Hush storyline so I can be familiar with the Batman 2 when it comes out. I've read it before, but it was such a long time ago. But that's the only thing I'm really reading right now. I have a Swamp Thing um, from Alan Moore that I haven't yet gotten into. And then I also have The Watchmen, which I picked up, which I read long ago, but just a good trade paperback to have. Those are books like I think were great storylines that you want to own the story without buying the books. I do think certain ones can be had. Like if you watch my channel religiously, I picked up that Batman Year One, but there were file copies of all 4 issues. For I put all four were $100 total. To me, that's worth it because how often you get a file copy? They're all pristine. They look like they're 9/8. Not that I would get the grade in because I wouldn't, but or at least I don't think I would. Kind of defeats the purpose for the storyline. But that was one of my favorites growing up. Diet water that I'm drinking. No, I don't know. My wife buys this is ShopRite water, bowl and basket. She's a nut. So she just buys whatever. I don't know why she came to buy that, but I drink it. No, I have yet to be to come to C2E2. I would like to. That's the one that's in Chicago, right? My dad goes to Chicago for work, so it's ever around that time that he goes. Maybe that might be a trip I would take this year. Terrificon, I'm going to try to go again, even though it's in late August this year or mid to late August, and my oldest plays football, so that's usually when he starts with stuff. So I'm hoping I can go, but it's a 2 hour drive for me, a 2.5 hour drive. So I'm planning on going as of right now. And King Con, obviously, will be in April 6th. New York Comic Con, obviously. I go just because it's local. This year, I bought a bunch of stuff, a lot of ASM keys and runner filler. I go just to go. And last year, I went 2 days. Next year, I'm only going one. And it's probably going to be Saturday because the Friday was a fucking disaster. Oh my God, there's too many people online on Friday trying to get exclusive variants, and they're not exclusive. I'll tell you that right now. Malo Choices is finishing No Man's Land. Very cool. Let me know how that is. Paul says he picked up the Deadpool GPK cover today, LCS for $10, and was real happy and loved the channel. Thank you so much, Paul. I actually have that cover as well. I picked it up off the rack back in the day when I had an LCS in my hometown, which I no longer do, but they held that for me because I'm a big GPK fan. Mill Skill says the Energon books, Void Rivals, Cobra Commander. Very cool. I know you're a big G.I. Joe guy. You said that. Void Rivals is a very popular one I hear right now as well. So that's something I may have to get into later on. Chris says you never say it loud. I have a Swamp Thing. Alan Moore Swamp Thing was really good. So I only read a few issues when I was younger. I wasn't a huge Swamp Thing fan, but I know he's a very popular character. I liked the TV show back then. So I definitely got to get into that. That's why I bought the trade paperback. But what about you guys? Shows. And so he mentioned Sixto mentioned C2E2. Chris, we got to get you to a show. I know you're in Florida. I know you don't do shows anymore because it's become something else. But if we can get like a bunch of people to go, would you go to Florida? If we get it to a Florida show? Or even New York. If you ever come back to New York, I know you were from here. If you ever came back up here for a show, that would be cool. But yeah, those are the shows I'm planning to hit this year so far. I don't really go to buy. I go to hang out and say hello. And if I find something that's like undervalued, then I'll pick it up. This year is going to be a little different because I completed my ASM run, so it's only going to be about value and maybe filming the show and putting it here on the channel. Um, a lot of the bigger shows have a lot of fluff, and I said that before, but it wasn't bad this year. Like comic wise, they had some decent deals. Some of it was ridiculous, some of it was not. You just have to dig, and I'm not buying like dollar books stuff like that. So to me, it's only keys if I'm going to spend money, and it's got to be undervalued at this point in my collecting journey, as I call it. So we'll go from there. He says he will never come back to New York, but if you guys ever go to the Tampa Comic Con, let me know, and I will highly consider it. All right, there you go. So we got to get enough people to go to the Tampa Comic Con, and then he'll consider it. So message me if we want to plan that. I don't know if it's this year or they already had it, but next one we got to try to get a group together to see if we can get Chris to go. Paul says he's reading early Usagi Fantagraphics comics lately. Stan Sakai is one of my faves. Yes, he has a really cult following. That is another book. If you're just reading, I think it's great, but that first appearance, really is taking a nosedive, which is sad because it is a rare book. So I'm shocked that it's gotten hit as hard as it had, but hit as hard as it has. But I do hear that the graphics and stories are great for Stan Sakai and Usagi. So what are we? I can't wait for spring. I will say that, guys. It is It's starting to get like that sort of spring weather. It's still cold here on the East Coast, 40 degrees, but I want like that 55, 65-degree weather so I could sit on my deck. I know last year I did a live stream from my deck just sitting there, and everybody raved how like they loved very impromptu, very whatever. So we'll try to do that again this year. Malo Toy says he went to MegaCon in Florida. Didn't find much comics, but they had lots of artists. Yeah, that's the bigger thing with the bigger cons, like MegaCon, Your Comic Con, freaking San Diego. The comics are, dude, they're outrageous, man. They're outrageous. It's not worth it for comics. But if you're gonna get a group together and go and just hang out, then it's kind of an experience at that point. So at that point, I get it. I this year, last year, Terrificon, it was a comic book con. So like, I know this year Jim Lee's gonna be there, so that is a huge get for them. I'm not a line guy. I can't go out and sit on lines all day, but that's one I may sit in for a little bit because you don't see him sign too often at other places. It's only gonna be that Saturday. So it's it's something I'm interested in. But Terrificon last year, and from what I've heard in years past, always has great deals on comics. There's some fluff as well, too much fluff in my opinion, but they do have a lot of comic books. The one thing Terrificon I did not like is the cost of a ticket to me is a lot of money. It was hundreds of dollars, and to stay in Mohegan Sun was even higher than that. So that's the one thing I didn't like. But other than that, the con itself was really good. Chris says I need to move to Florida. It averages 75 in the wintertime. My sister lives in Sarasota. So you never know. I have to convince my wife to move there, but she's got a job that requires her to live in New Jersey. So we got to stay here for a bit longer. So maybe on down the line though, you never know. Even though I don't like it when it gets too hot. Like when it's like 100 degrees in the summer, I don't like that. Even here in East Coast up top, north, I'll die if it's like 90 something degrees. I have a nice deck. I can't even sit outside because I'm like choking to death. That's how hot it gets. I like that when the winter feels like spring. So like a couple years back in November, it was like 70 degrees. That was it. Wow, it's 58 right now there. That's crazy. Second best Bob says he hasn't been to a con since the 1980s. Those are where you can find some deals, man. I always have Errol telling me, my buddy, that he used to get ridiculous deals on books back then. A lot more collectors focus just on comic books. That's why I think why. So yes, that's true. You never have to shovel sunshine. That's a good point. Excellent point. Malo says he moved from New Jersey to Florida 7 years ago. I love it here. That's what a lot of people tell me. My sister lives down there, so we'll see. My father-in-law lived in near there as well, but he just moved to Georgia. So we'll see. There are some other states we're thinking of for retirement, but we'll see what the political landscape looks like by then, and then we'll see what happens. That's down the road though. So I'm in my mid-40s, probably got another 10 years. Oh, he's in London. All right, Bob. Very cool. Very cool. All right, ladies and gents, it's 3 o'clock. I'm going to end this live stream, but I want to thank each and every one of you guys for coming out and just hanging out with me. I think I'm going to do this more often, especially when the weather's not so nice or it's cold on a Sunday because I'm bored to pieces when all my chores are done. So again, thank you to everyone out there for hanging with me for about an hour and a half. This was fun. And like I said, next time we'll give away another pack of Mythic Park. Don't forget about the other stuff I'm giving away. That ASM 16, so hit the sub button. And of course, that AF 15 OA print is ridiculous. I framed my copy and it's awesome. I believe I posted it to Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, mightycomics_collectibles, you're missing out, especially when buying books as well. So if you just sign up for account just to look for books or just talk about books, because so many messages I talk to people on there. Chris, you got to get an Instagram too. Just to I'm telling you, you'll get your AF15 if you get on there. I'm telling you right now. So as always, this is Lawrence over at Mighty Comics Collectibles saying thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon.